Hancock and Kelley.
Welcome back to Hancock and Kelley. Let's talk about some recent polling here in Missouri. A poll of likely voters by the Trafalgar Group has Governor Mike Parson at 51%, Nicole Galloway at 36%, but that is a traditionally Republican-leaning polling organization. Other polls have Parson at about 6-point lead. Others have it even closer than that. All right, John, you've been looking at a lot of numbers lately. This is actually a very close race here, and you say Missouri is not as red or as Republican as it used to be. So, John, you're up first. Why?
I don't know that it's ever been particularly, bright red. It's been a state. I mean, you go back over the last 30 years, and we've had more years of a Democrat in the governor's office than a Republican. Just a couple of years ago, our senior senator from the state, Claire McCaskill, was a Democrat. So it would be inaccurate to call Missouri, a typical Republican count on it every election state. That said, I'm really encouraged by the numbers I've seen in the governor's race. I know that Democratic Governors Association has dumped millions of dollars into Missouri. They think this is a race they can win, clearly. But Mike Parson has maintained a steady lead throughout. I think the Trafalgar survey is a little rosy on the Republican side. I don't know that we're up by 13 or 15 points. But I do think Mike Parson has a pretty safe lead outside of the margin of error. I expect him to win it.
Michael, your thoughts on this?
On our hands here, though, John, and that's the reality. And who would have thought? I think even a year ago today, we would have thought that this was probably a safe Republican gubernatorial spot. Why has that changed? Well, over the last 3 decades, we've seen rural Missouri get stronger and stronger red, urban Missouri get stronger and stronger blue. Where is the leakage happening? Well, that's suburban women. And Mike Parson has failed on the pandemic. He hasn't shown leadership. He's left uncertainty for so many of our kids as it relates to schools and mask orders. And he's paying a price right now with suburban women. And that may be what gives Nicole Galloway an opportunity to win this election. And that's what I think you're going to see Nicole Galloway and Governor Parson spending a lot of time, which is on the suburbs of St. Louis, Kansas City, and Springfield.
It is true that the president has a problem with suburban women, particularly college-educated suburban women. That's true. I've seen that data. It's just not true in that same sense for Mike Parson. He is not performing in that manner with suburban women. It's one of the reasons why he's got a 7-point lead right now, and that's a key group for the electorate. And it's one of the reasons I think the president needs to shore his numbers up there somewhat, but less of a concern in the governor's race here.
You know, guys, this one just popped into my head, too. A lot of this probably has to do in Missouri with migration. I'm writing another Missouri history book, and you go into some of these rural counties, and there's simply no people left. Worth County in northern Missouri has 2,000 people left. In 1900, it had like 10,000. So I think we're going to see, less power in some of these rural counties as everybody, especially young people, John, move to these areas.
It's less about the population and more about the margins. So what you're looking at when you're doing assessment of a state election in a county, you want to look at the margin of win for the Democrat or for the Republican. So if there are fewer people, but the margin of difference between the Democrat and Republican is grown, and that's what we've seen in a lot of rural parts of Missouri. The margins have grown for Republicans, adding to that vote total. And that really is the key thing you want to look at, as opposed to just raw population.
Heck, 2,000 people, Michael. That's some families in the city of St. Louis. That's a big family reunion down in the hill.
Our president said we're casting our ballots early and we're going to vote on election day.
Right. All right. Something interesting happened this week when it comes to the city of St. Louis and how to combat crime. State legislators voted to allow city first responders to move out of the city. It's been debated for years. Now it looks like it's going to happen. The city hopes it allows them to fill more open positions, a lot of police officers, right, and recruit even more officers. But now it's going to cause, they think, maybe a big outflow of people from the city. So let's talk about that part first. Michael, you're up first before we get to the prosecutor's office. Well, what are your thoughts on this one?
This is a positive thing, and it's a no-brainer. I mean, this is one of 2 communities in the entire state where we have this restriction. It's unfair. It's un-American. Do I think this is the panacea that it's being portrayed, that suddenly we're going to be able to fix this 150 officer shortage and crime's going to come down? No. I think we've got a much larger problem, and I'll leave it to John to describe why that's the case.
John.
Yeah, I mean, it helps, and Michael's correct. It's not fair to tell people where you have to live. I mean, that's not American. I think this will help some in terms of filling that 143 officer deficit that we have in the city. But the bigger problem with policing is that the people increasingly don't want to go into it. You look at the classes of graduates from the police academies, they're getting smaller. And, you know, in the St. Louis region, they're dispersed between the city police, the county police, 50-some municipal police departments. So if you've got a smaller pool of people feeding into the police profession and a bigger disbursement of them to more departments, that's a structural problem, and this residency requirement's not going to solve that.
All right, the biggest debate came when senators tried to revive a plan to let the Attorney General file murder cases in the city if Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner fails to act. It was added to a bill about witness statements. Listen to this.
The underlying amendment is targeted toward where the problem is, which is in the Circuit Attorney's Office in the city of St. Louis. It is the Circuit Attorney's Office in the city of St. Louis that is 70% understaffed, that has an abysmally low conviction rate, and is trying fewer and fewer cases as the murder rate and the violent crime rate in the city of St. Louis is skyrocketing.
You want to do this tough on crime and want to put the blame at the foot of the Circuit Attorney, but you don't want to entertain any bills that deal with police reform, because you don't think it's a problem.
All right, John, you're up first on this one. Senate stepping into some unusual territory here.
It is, and, you know, controversial, not so much as it relates to Kim Gardner's office. I think there's a consensus that that's just not working well. But in terms of a precedent, there are some Republicans that aren't crazy about this idea because of the precedent that it sets. You know, the thing that's happening positively here is the Legend program out of the U.S. Justice Department, where Jeff Jensen, the U.S. attorney here in the Eastern District of Missouri, has prosecuted well over 100 cases now. They've confiscated hundreds of guns, illegal guns that were on the street. And that program, that federal program, is making a real difference. And I think over time, there is some hope that maybe the crime problem can begin to be addressed better.
Michael.
That gentleman that was talking that introduced this bill is a guy named Senator Bob Onder from St. Charles. And he's a conservative Republican who usually is all about local control. Think about this. The Republicans want to be able to separate and allow this to happen only inside the city of St. Louis. If it's good enough for the city of St. Louis, why isn't it good enough for the state? Going back even further, one of the main principles of conservatism is local control. And here's the state trying to Bigfoot this process. Now, Kim Gardner wasn't my candidate of choice for that prosecutor here in the city of St. Louis, but she won overwhelmingly. This is what the people of St. Louis voted for. That's a principle that Republicans used to stand for. And if you're going to introduce legislation like this, if it's good enough for the goose, then it's good enough for the gander.
All right, still to come here on Hancock and Kelley, we're going to get the very latest on the vaccine for coronavirus. Is it going to be here in time for the election? We have a lot more to come here on a Labor Day edition of Hancock and Kelley.